Hi guys, TJ from the Source London here. I thought I would make a quick video. It's not going to be quick. I think it's going to be about 15 minutes long. I get a lot of Facebook messages, a bunch of emails from people who are eager to get into service accommodation or rent to rent, and they ask for tips. So what I'm going to do, just to make life easier for myself and yourself, as opposed to waiting for an email from me, which could take forever, since I'm completely rubbish with emails, I thought I'll put together a video. Now, what I'm going to share is what's worked for me. It's allowed me to source hundreds and hundreds of deals for clients. It's also allowed me to scale my rent-to-rent service accommodation business to over 140 units. So what I'm going to say here is what's worked for me. You can tweak it, you can change it, you can do whatever you want to do. But the fact is, I'm going to go through 6 points. I don't teach scripts when I train. I think I don't think it's necessary. I fundamentally believe when you're speaking to a human being, it requires thought, it requires you to be engaged, and it requires, the ability to seek to understand where that person's coming from, which is why I don't teach scripts. So I'm not going to go through any scripts today because I want you to create your own pitches, your own scripts, if you are going to use one, based on your understanding of yourself, your product, your business, and your environment. So let's get straight into it because I don't have long on this recording. How to get deals done 101 by TJ. I've always wanted to say that, actually. So number one, most important thing, before you pick up the phone, before you speak to anyone, I'm a big believer, firstly, in practicing. There is nothing wrong with calling an agent, practicing your pitch, and moving on if it doesn't go well. But in order to give yourself the best possible chance, the first thing you need to do is know your product in and out. Know your offering in and out. So when we're talking about service accommodation, make sure you understand what you're offering to that person in and out. You have to understand that sales, communication is all about energy. It's not necessarily what's coming out of your mouth, but it's the confidence behind it that that person will pick up. Now, one of the main reasons I say know your product in and out is because most of the time when you're speaking to an agent, whatever information you give to that agent, he needs to be able to take that information, how you've packaged it, and take it and give it to the owner, the developer, or the vendor. If you don't know your product, the information you're giving him is going to be difficult for him to repackage and take it to whoever makes the final decision. And this is why a lot of people make phone calls to agents and you don't hear anything back because they don't bother forwarding on your message because they never understood your message in the first place. So make sure you're able to answer the questions. Is it subletting? How long has your company been active for? Will it be on Airbnb? How do I know you're going to pay your rent on time? How does the business work? Your job is to instill confidence in whoever you're speaking to so that when they take your message to the decision maker, they're able to package it exactly how you've given it to them so that person's able to receive it that way. I mean, the whole thing comes down to Chinese whispers. You could call an agent, give him the crappiest, flimsiest pitch in the world, and guess what? If he goes ahead and speaks to his client, which could be the owner, it's all over the place. The person's just going to say, what is this nonsense? I don't understand what you're talking about. Bring me a normal tenant. So understand your product. Understand the benefits of working with a service accommodation provider versus working with a long-term tenant. Understand that your job is to package what you're offering in the most concise way, in the most attractive way, without lying and, without over-exaggerating, but making it attractive enough, but making it concise enough, and making it understandable enough for whoever you're speaking to be able to take that message to whoever makes the final decision. Number two, let's move on. I spent too long on that. Number two is what I call preemption. I love preemption. Preemption is technically your ability to see the future. And these are things that I speak about in my book. If you don't know, I've got a book. It's called Communicative Magic, How Houdini would have done it. I talk about how magic and communication are exactly the same and how to make the whole sales process fun by utilizing magic. But we'll talk about preemption. Preemption is your ability to see the future. Preemption just simply talks about you dealing with something before it arises. So when I talk about preemption, your job is, when you're pitching a landlord, developer, or agent, make sure that you deal with all potential negatives or all potential objections before it arises. Robert Cialdini talks about in his book Influence about something called commitment and consistency. It's important to understand this, and it might make sense for you to get my book or get Robert's book if you want to, but it talks about commitment and consistency. You do not want that agent to make a commitment to what comes out of his mouth. He could say, oh, this is subletting, we don't do subletting. But if you're smart and you understand your product and you've spent enough time speaking to agents, you've spent enough time researching how agents interact and take your message, then you would know that that's a common question that you're going to get. So what you do as part of your pitch, as part of your script, if you have one, is you deal with that objection as part of your dialogue. So before that man or the agent or the woman says, we don't sublet, 5-6 minutes ago, you would have addressed it and said, oh, a lot of people believe it's subletting, but blah, 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 blah. Or subletting is da, 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 da. Or we put this type of clients, da, 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 da. Deal with every potential issue before it becomes an issue. That's what good sales magicians do. Let's move on to the next one. Explaining benefits. Many of us were taught, tell them, oh gosh, it's a guaranteed rent. Oh, it's a corporate let. Nobody cares about benefits. Nobody cares about you making statements. I want to understand, as an agent, I want to understand what this means to me and what this means to my client. If you're going to tell me that it's a guaranteed rent, tell me what it means. Every statement should be followed up by what this means to you is. So, for example, if I'm to say to a client, if I'm to say to an agent, sorry, I'm Russian, I hope you can follow me. If I'm to say to an agent, one of the benefits of working with my company is you will be getting a guaranteed rent, I would follow up by saying, and what that means is, you don't have to worry about the rent coming from so and so and so. Another example, we will be putting corporate clients in there, or it's going to be a corporate tenancy, or we've signed an agreement with a large corporate firm and they will be staying in the apartment. What that means is, give the understanding as to what the benefit of what you're talking about means. I hope that makes sense, because I am just trying to go through this as soon as possible. But we're going to have corporate staying in the apartment. What that simply means to you is we'll never have to worry about late rent because their company pay upfront for them 3 months in advance. So and so and so. Always have a reason as to why you've made a statement. That's how our brain works. We seek comprehension. We hate statements. Number 4. I love this. I have a theory on this which I teach. It's called the cupcake theory. So it falls under something called reciprocity. When you're speaking to an agent, a developer, a landlord, or trying to get deals done, it pays you to understand reciprocity. Reciprocity simply talks about a law. Reciprocity is a law. If you give, you will receive. Same thing in the Bible, sowing and reaping. Also known as causation, cause and effect. These things are important for you to understand. So your responsibility is to give so you can receive. So I have this thing called the cupcake theory. When I used to go on viewings, when I was trying to tie up developments, or when I was sourcing for my clients, I would always take a cupcake with me. So I would always take this fancy little small 2-3 pound cupcake and give it to whoever was doing the viewing. Not only did it increase my sales or my ability to tie up more deals, what it did is it got me being talked about in every single agency that I had an interaction with. Imagine you've gone on a viewing, you've given, let's say his name is John Smith, you've given him a cupcake, little cupcake, and he takes it back to the office. He's going to put it on the table and say, oh look, this is what that person gave me. Your name is on their lips as they're eating your cupcake. Okay, but secondly, it's the process of reciprocity. Now, reciprocity doesn't mean they will give you something back of the same equivalent. It just means you've triggered something that the universe understands as you've enacted or you've enabled a law to come into place. Therefore, this person is much more obliged, not forced, but they're obliged to return a favor. What tends to happen is, the way it works for me is they remember me. And anytime something comes up, I get the first phone call, which is why I've been able to do a number of deals and help a bunch of people get into service accommodation. Number 5, the most important thing. If you're anything like me and you do most of your deals behind the phone, I only go on viewings now when I'm about to type a development for myself or for my clients. Most of my deals are done over the phone. I've become a very, very lazy sourcer because that's my style and that works. But number 5 is probably one of the most important. Only pitch the decision maker. I've been known, and anyone that knows my story knows, I've been known for calling the same agent 5, 6, 7, 8 times. I could call the first time, hello, hi, can I speak to, always say this, hi, can I speak to your manager or supervisor? Who's speaking, please? My name is so and so. Oh, he's not available. No worries, I'll try again later. Hang up. Call back in 10 minutes. Hi, can I speak to the manager? By then you would have got his name. Hi, one step closer to speaking to the manager. I've been known to call and change my voice or hold my nose so that they don't recognize it's me. But I'll tell you a funny story. One of my biggest serving agents that I do a bunch of deals with, in fact, eventually, after calling that agency, I think over a 3-day period, changing my voice, finally picked up the phone and he said, hi, how can I help? I pitched to him, we met up for coffee, and he, after we had done the first deal, he actually admitted to me, he said, by the way, TJ, do you know that we actually knew that was you? And I was like, how did you know it was me? He said, well, because we've got caller ID and you kept on calling with the same number and hiding your voice and changing your voice. And the receptionist knew it was you. But anyway, that's for another day. But the fact is, speak to the person that makes the decision. Don't waste your time going on a viewing if you haven't spoken to the person that makes a decision. I'm not saying get a decision there and there on the phone, which is what I do before I go in a viewing. But for yourself, you might want to speak to whoever makes the decision, only because whoever you're speaking to still has to take whatever you've told him and take it to his manager. So why not cut out all the misunderstanding, all the wasted energy, because you're going to put a lot of energy into your call. So you might as well give it to whoever makes that decision. That's that. And the last one, value. Comes back to reciprocity in a way. If you speak to an agent and the property isn't suitable for what you want it for, offer to provide greater value to them. Offer things like, I might know someone who might be able to rent that from you. If you see an agent that's struggling with a unit, he's about to lose that unit because the landlord is about to give it to another agency, how about helping them find a tenant? Going out of your way to help them out. Again, reciprocity. They will go out of their way to help you get more deals done, or go out of their way to offer you and look for opportunities for yourself. Guys, as I said, that was just me rambling. I just thought I'd do a quick video, but just those 5 things by itself will help you. It's your job to work out what you're going to say. I assume you already understand the industry. I assume you already understand service accommodation. I assume you already understand the model. And there are a bunch of questions that they will ask you, such as, how do I know you're going to pay your rent on time? Is it subletting? Is it safe? Do you have to do checks on each client? Wear and tear. I'm just going to ramble on and just think of things that you need to actually make sure you can answer. How do you ensure that the person leaves and they don't take residence in the property? What else is there? There's just so many other things. Guys, I wish you all the best. Enjoy the video. If you need any help, feel free. Shameless plug. Well, it's not a shameless plug. It's a plug. Feel free to send me a message and pre-order my book. As I said, it's called Communicative Magic, and it will help you get a lot of deals done, as it's helped me do. It's just a basic understanding of how human beings receive information and how we process that information, and it's the understanding of that with a bit of fun and a bit of magic that will help you get more deals done. I wish you all the best. If you need any sourcing, feel free to drop me an email at info@thesourcelondon.co.uk, or like our Facebook page, The Source London, and connect with me, and let's see how we can help you. I wish you all the best. Cheers. Bye.